Good grief. Why do they never go in for me? Hey everybody, back again with another superb collection of records. I'm sure everybody will agree. Yeah, so back again with another Wodge of vinyl. Another 80s Wodge. I love my 80s records, can't help it, love them. I thought the decade, the first half of the decade anyway, when I was still into listening to mainstream music, I guess before I sort of got into indie, I still love the pop music from that era. Yeah, still love it. Still, so many mavericks around, I think. And we've got the first record, kind of turned into a bit of a grail for me. I don't really have grails. I have records I really want. Would they be grails? I don't know. Depends on your definition, really. But I've been looking for this for a while, and I was delighted when I found a copy of it in a charity shop, because I just go charity shop hunting in the main, car boots and stuff. I'm delighted to pick this up. So we've got Duck Rock by Malcolm McLaren. Absolutely stoked to find this. So it was really funny. I was with my daughter, and I managed to persuade her just to pop in to a charity shop with me. It takes a lot of, I have to make promises saying, yes, we'll go in that toy shop if you let me have a look in there. And when I was flicking through the records, and she said, you were shaking when you picked that up. I really was. I was like really excited. It was like, whoa. So yeah, so this is, when was this released? Was it 83? Or was it 84? I can't remember. Hang on, is it saying here? Oh, I can't remember. I'll look on the label in a minute. But it's a mix of hip hop, early 80s hip hop, mixed with sounds from, I guess he probably got them from Soweto, I guess, but it's definitely that African guitar pop that was really, really popular in the 80s. Possibly one of the first people to bring the sound over. Had a couple of hits off this, so Buffalo Girls and Double Dutch. It's a great listen. It's got there's Cuban rhythms. It's a real melange of world rhythms is what this record is all about. So from America, Africa, Caribbean, all over the place. And it's got, now I'm trying to remember who does it. It's got little interludes from, I think they sound like a call-in. I can't remember who did it. Oh, South American. So it came with the insert, which is fabulous, and it tells you lots of. It's got all the lyrics, and it tells you bits about some of the tunes and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, links from the Supreme team, and it's a really immersive record. I absolutely love it. Produced by Trevor Horn. Was it produced by Trevor Horn? It better be produced by Trevor Horn. Now I've said it. Hang on. Yeah, of course it's produced by Trevor Horn. I just think he was just on top of his game in the early 80s. Does it say when it was released on here? Oh, it does, but I can't read it. No, it doesn't. 83, there we go. So there's one side, and there's the other side. Labels. Yeah, absolutely stoked to pick this up, and it was, what, a couple of quid. Really nice condition, great sounding record. Of course it does because of Trevor Horn production. Absolutely fabulous. I'll put all that back together later. Right. Another record I could not believe I found. I was by myself this time. and this was a charity shop in Newton Abbot. Newton Abbot, I don't know, I can pick up some really good stuff in Newton Abbot. Maybe because I don't have much. I think I've said this before to somebody, or whether I said it on another video, but it doesn't seem to be much competition for the kind of stuff I like here. Seem to be able to pick up pretty good stuff, and I found this, and I could not believe I found this. So we've got Madhouse with their album 8. Now, those of you who don't know, this is actually an album by Prince. So this is kind of a jazz fusion record by Prince, and it was released on Paisley Park in, I think it might have been, there we go, 87. So there's the back cover. And this was a fantastic listen. Absolutely great stuff. And I picked this up for 50p. It was just in a box of Absolute Tap. So there you go, the typical Paisley Park label. Yeah, it was in a box of Absolute Tap. Everything else was rubbish. And then I just saw poking out halfway through, I saw the top. Because if you can see, it says it on the top of the spine. I thought, hang on, right, don't get too excited. Might be in bad condition. So I've continued flicking through the records, didn't want to miss anything else. And then I got to it, and look at it. There's a bit of a split there, but absolutely brilliant condition. Great sounding record. And I honestly never thought I'd see a copy of this. Let alone find one in a charity shop for 50p. Absolutely insane, that is. Insane find. So chuffed with that one. Right, more 80s. Recently I've been really enjoying Jim Steinman's solo album. I've been playing Bat Out of Hell again. And I've just really liked Jim Steinman's writing style. So when I saw this, I think the rest of these were £1 each, I think. One of the charity shops in Newton Abbot. I thought, right, I'm having that, because I love the title track. So this is Bonnie Tyler, Faster Than the Speed of Night. This album is basically all about 2 tracks. The rest of it is kind of okay. It's no great shakes, but it's got Total Eclipse of the Heart, a 7-minute album version, which is one of those singles of the 80s. I mean, it just sums up the 80s, really. Bombastic, big, over the top, certain aspects of the 80s anyway. Sums up certain aspects of the 80s. And also the track Faster Than the Speed of Night, which are the 2 that Jim Steinman wrote. He did produce the whole record, but she does a decent cover of Have You Ever Seen the Rain. Not particularly a fan of that. Side 2 is okay. But those tracks were all written, I think they were all written by other people. So there's a lovely picture of Bonnie on that sunset, I don't know, whichever one you want to call it, CBS. So yeah, it's so worth having. She does a duet with Frankie Miller, which is quite nice. I like a bit of Frankie Miller. So yeah, top stuff. Love that. I'm going to go with this one next because there is a slight link. Yeah, I'll go with that. So one of the biggest artists of the 80s was this woman, Tina Turner. She blew up in the 80s after years of being crapped on by Ike. She came out and just had a real career in the 80s and the early 90s. In fact, it lasted quite a long time, up until the 2000s, I guess. I checked I didn't realise, but she was still having hits in the UK in the middle of the 2000s, which is marvellous. This is a record of 2 record of two halves. They're all records of two halves, but the two halves of this are completely different. So we've got, there's a great picture of her. So side 1 is produced by one guy. All the tracks are either written by or co-written by Graham Lyle, and I think it's produced by, oh Lord, I think it's produced by Graham Lyle as well. Hang on, it's on the back. This record has so many producers, it's silly. Terry Britton. And side 1 is okay. Side 1's okay. It's typical male's fine. You Get What You See is okay. Girls, I think is okay, but there's a few tracks that are just that kind of typical mainstream, fairly bland 80s pop production. Oh, I showed that Capital Rainbow thing. But the B side, or side 2, is much more interesting. You start off with a track that was written by Bryan Adams and Bob Clearmountain, and they produced it, Back Where You Started, which is an out-and-out rocker, great song. Followed up by there's also a couple of tracks by Rupert Hine, which are okay. I'll Be Thunder is a typical bombastic ballad, and that's alright. And then there's a couple of tracks written by Mark Knopfler. Overnight Sensation is a great little song. Paradise Is Here is not Paradise Is Here. What was it? Was that Paradise Is Here, written by Paul Brady, is not quite as good. Oh, come on, get in there. There we go. So about 4 or 5 really good tracks, 4 or 5 not so good tracks, but it's well worth picking up for £1. Absolutely loved it, and it's a great cut. I like the picture of old Tina on there. I think she looked great. Right, I'll go to this one. No, this one next. This next one was actually really disappointing. Easily the most disappointing of the bunch. So this is Kim Carnes and Mistaken Identity. So this was a massive album, absolutely massive album, but because of one song. And I could have included this song in my recent One Hit Wonders of the 80s videos. So Bet Davis Eyes is the opening track, and what a masterpiece of a song that is. I think it was #1 in America for goodness knows how long, and it was a top 10 hit over here. Brilliant, brilliant song. And then you've got the rest of the album, and it is really middling, mediocre. It's not even an 80s sounding record. It sounds like a sort of record, a Midwest rock record from about 1978. And it's not a patch on Bet Davis Eyes, the rest of it. There is a link with the Tina Turner record. There's a Frankie Miller song. I presume it's a cover because it's earlier than the rest of the songs. I'll have to check that out. When I'm Away From You, which is okay. Draw of the Cards is an okay track. Best song apart from Bet Davis Eyes is Break the Rules Tonight, which is a really good rocker, actually. Maybe she should have done more stuff like that, because the rest of it, I think, is a missed opportunity on that EMI America label. I think I've got a couple of records that are on that. Yeah, kind of very... Most of the record is quite bland, unfortunately. I'm just not into it at all at the moment. Maybe I'll give it another spin. But of course I'm going to keep it for Bet Davis Eyes. Much better album was this one. So this is Kim Wilde, and this is Catch As Catch Can, which is her 3rd album. So this was a little bit of a change of style for her. The first 2 records were kind of guitar-based pop. Obviously, the first one with Kids in America, Water on Glass, and then you had the more introspective Select, which I've heard but I don't have, so I'm still looking out for that, with things like Cambodia and stuff like that on it. This is kind of she's still got a few songs in the vein of the first two albums, but then she's got a lot of more dancey stuff on here, and it actually works really well. It's a really good pop album. Things like, so there were no Love Blonde is on here, which is kind of out of style with the rest of the record. Dream Sequence is an interesting song. It's much more, it's a completely different sound to anything she did before. You got the rockers like Backstreet Joe. House of Salome was a single, that was really good. Shoot to Disable. Dancing in the Dark, not the Springsteen song. So yeah, really enjoyable on RAK. I really like that label. I've got a lot of singles on RAK, and I kind of love that ship being on there. I never worked out why there was a ship on their label. Don't know. Produced, of course, by Ricky Wilde. Really good listen. Really enjoyed that. Put that back in a minute. Sort of faffing around. I also picked up an upgrade of this album, which is a great pop, soul, indie, kind of 80s indie record. This is The Bad and Lowdown World of the Cane Gang. Band from the northeast of England. Don't think they were Newcastle. I think they were Durham, maybe. They had a couple of hits in the UK. They had a cover of Respect Yourself from the Staple Singers and The Closest Thing to Heaven. I really like Gun Law, which was a flop of a single, but I think it's their first single. Really good song. Small Town Creed, I think, might have been a single as well. But it's kind of that pop soul sound. Really nice. I love that. That one. There you go. Really good sound on it. I think this might be, when I bought it first, it might have been one of the first records I got when I got back into vinyl. But I'm really happy to have an upgrade copy of that. And then I was rooting through a charity shop in Exeter. Exeter seems to have dried up lately. Very little, apart from one shop where I got Duck Rock from, and the Cane Gang actually. The rest of Exeter for vinyl is, don't know what's going on there. I mean, it's not as though there's not a lot of charity shops in Exeter, but I don't know. But I did find this, and this is a little bit early for this time of year. I have listened to it. I had to listen to it, make sure it was all right. But it's Z Records, a Christmas record. This has to be one of the most bizarre Christmas records I think I've seen, and I've seen a lot. Z was a record company in America, put together, I can't remember the names now, but one of the guys who put it together was the heir of Mothercare in the UK. Michael Zilka? Maybe. And basically this is now considered to be the first alternative Christmas album. So this was released in 1981. Basically the guys at Z decided that they would ask all the artists on the label to record a Christmas song. And it's a bizarre, I mean, it's just a bizarre collection of artists. You've got Material with Nona Hendrix doing a party song. I mean, this is more of a party album rather than a straight Christmas album. I don't think there's a single sleigh bell on it. You've got August Darnell, of course, from Kid Creole and the Coconuts, doing a song, which is actually pretty good. You've got Charlie Couture doing a more of a spoken word song. You've got Suicide, yes, that's Suicide, sounding like they're having the most miserable Christmas in existence. Somebody called Christina doing another spoken word. Then you've got, this is where The Waitress's Christmas Rapping was first recorded for. This is the first appearance, which is excellent. Love that. You got Was Not Was doing a Christmas time in the Motor City. Then you got Alan Vega with More Cheery Christmas with No More Christmas Blues, but it sounds like he's at the bottom of a heroin barrel. And then you got David Sigerson with the sweetest kind of upbeat country-ish pop song about calling people at Christmas and saying Happy Christmas. So it really does go from the sweetest stuff to the dire depths. But it's a fascinating listen. Absolutely stoked to pick this up, and it is of course on white vinyl. There you go. See, I don't know whether there's some kind of degradation of, I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually not pure white. There's kind of a slushy greyness to it, which are probably you could take that to be symbolic of the whole record in part. So you've got the pureness, pure white, but then you've got a sort of greyish undertone to the whole thing. There we go. But a really interesting listen. Will I play it at Christmas? Possibly. Will I play it again? Definitely. Definitely worth playing again. I thought that was great. Alright, so there we go. Another fantastic trawl through a batch of 80s records that nobody, well, actually people have heard of these ones. Some of them anyway. But thank you ever so much for sticking around as long as you have, if you have. And I'm sure I'll be back soon with another video to educate, enlighten and edify. So thanks a lot. Bye.